When attacking or when hit by basic attacks, Captain America has a 30% chance to gain an armor up buff. These armor ups last indefinitely up to 5 stacks. Additional stacks last for 10 seconds. This buff turns into a passive when nullified by anything other than an armor break. While armor up is active, Captain America can trigger the parry mastery against non-contact attacks, and he can block unblockable specials from mutants. Each armor up reduces the opponent's bleed ability accuracy by 25%. There is a 10% chance per armor up effect to auto-block incoming special attacks, up to 75%. This auto-block counts as a well-timed block and removes all personal armor ups. Auto-block chance is also increased by 25% per prowess effect on the opponent. This chance is capped at 100% while the opponent has prowess. Captain America cannot land critical hits naturally. However, every time he would have landed a critical hit, he inflicts an instant rupture, dealing physical damage. This ability scales with critical damage rating. Ruptures also inflict a sap charge that lasts for 15 seconds or indefinitely as a defender. Consume all charges when reaching 25 stacks and replace them with a power drain passive, draining 50% of the opponent's power over 15 seconds. Dodging back and holding block for 1.2 seconds, you will inflict a lock-on charge for 16 seconds. This pauses during special attacks. Once lock-on ends, it goes on cooldown for 12 seconds. As a defender, Captain America inflicts a lock-on charge every 16 seconds, if not already locked on. When entering lock-on, Captain America passively inflicts cowardice for the duration of locked on, reducing special attack damage by 40%. While locked on, Captain America gains increased critical rating, and his attacks cannot miss. Finally, while locked on, striking the opponent pauses all sap charges for 5 seconds. When striking with a heavy attack, or intercepting the opponent, Captain America will consume an armor up buff and gain a non-stacking bulwark buff, increasing his block proficiency for 15 seconds. While this buff is active, opponents have a negative 100% ability accuracy when hitting Captain America's block. As an example, you can see here in the fight against Black Panther Civil War, his reflective stun does not activate when we parry. As well, normally Sasquatch, when he has the Wrath of Tenorak active, can stun you with his special 1-3 block. However, as you can see here, this will not activate when Bulwark is active. The last hit of the Special Attack 1 inflicts a physical vulnerability debuff on the opponent, decreasing physical resistance for 14 seconds. This pauses while lock-on is active. If this special is thrown with lock-on active, you will inflict an extra physical vulnerability debuff. For the duration of the Special Attack 2, attack rating increases proportionate to armor rating. All personal armor ups are consumed by the end of the attack. Each hit inflicts a rupture debuff, dealing physical damage over 10 seconds. And if this special attack is performed while lock-on is active, each hit inflicts an extra instant rupture passive, dealing critical damage as physical damage. Using the special attack 3, Captain America will gain a precision buff, granting a gigantic increase to his critical rating for 8 seconds. This pauses for 0.5 seconds anytime he hits the opponent. Captain America can crit through blocks while this buff is active. This attack will also consume all stacks of armor up and gain a 10% chance per armor up to inflict an extra sap charge on a rupture for the duration of the precision buff. Reaching max stacks of sap charges while this effect is active causes the lost armor ups to return. If the special attack 3 is performed while lock-on is active, you will inflict a special lock on the opponent, preventing specials from being activated for 10 seconds. When awakened, when either champion performs a well-timed block, Captain America inflicts a sap charge on the opponent. In addition, lock-on lasts 2 seconds longer, and the attack rating is increased even further while active. Lock-on will also allow Captain America to inflict ruptures from the Special 2 attack through blocks. Finally, when an opponent's miss fails, or when their ability fails due to low ability accuracy, an instant rupture is inflicted, dealing physical damage. This damage scales with base attack only. For the best damage rotation for Captain America, you will want to build up as many armor up buffs as possible. This will lend towards your damage later on in the rotation. You will build up to just underneath a special attack 2. Then you will throw a special 1 to put a physical vulnerability debuff on the opponent. Throw a few more 5-hit combos, and then just before that physical vulnerability debuff should end, you will want to make sure that you apply lock-on to the opponent. This will pause that physical vulnerability debuff, and then you will throw another special attack 1. Now you will inflict 2 more physical vulnerability debuffs for a max of 3. Now you will want to race towards your special 2, and you will want to throw the special 2 before lock-on ends. This will inflict maximum damage, and is a rinse and repeat rotation. You can use the special 3 for some extra added power control, but I really haven't found it too necessary, and it doesn't really add towards your damage. There is a chance that you could use this ability to increase your armor up buffs even more and potentially go for a bigger special 2, but this is very time intensive and a little bit difficult to do. You really should just stick with the double special 1, special 2 rotation and then rinse and repeat that. Where Captain America really shines is in his utility, and I am going to leave a link at the end of this video and in the description to go to a utility showcase for the champion. However, let's cover a few things here. First of all, he doesn't naturally crit, which makes him a great counter towards Mr. Sinister, because that means Mr. Sinister will never regain health. As well, his auto block ability is fantastic, especially against mutant champions who gain prowess, as if you have 5 armor up buffs and they have 2 prowess buffs, you have a 100% chance to auto block any special attack from a mutant. As well, as long as you have 1 armor up buff, you can block unblockable special attacks from mutants. Looking at those armor up buffs, they also give him the ability to block non-contact attacks. So some of the more annoying defenders such as Iron Man Infinity War, Domino, Havoc, Nova, and Ebony Maw, he can actually block their basic attacks that normally do not make contact, making him very useful for many other fights. Finally, looking at his Bulwark buff, which gives him the ability to decrease the opponent's offensive ability actually by 100%, is a fantastic bit of utility. Again, this makes things like Black Panther Civil War's Reflective Stun null and void. It just doesn't work while the Bulwark is active. As we saw earlier with the Sasquatch as well, he cannot stun you through block. This also works for nodes such as Biohazard, Bubble Shield, or even Kinetic Transference. As long as this Bulwark is active, anytime the opponent strikes your block, it will not activate any of those things such as power gain or building up those charges from Bubble Shield. Remember that gaining the bulwark buff will require you to spend one of your armor up buffs, so make sure in fights where you don't need to decrease the offensive ability accuracy that you are not intercepting as much and using more parries so that you can maximize the amount of armor up buffs you gain to maximize your damage. Captain America Sam Wilson is a fantastic addition to the tech class. He has a very easy rotation to get a handle on and is great for newer players. As well, he has so much utility that it really does put him in a position to be one of the biggest utility gods in Marvel Contest of Champions.